Hello, and welcome to the Composer Chronicles, a storytelling podcast, partially turned YouTube show about music through the ages. I'm your host, Stephen Trygar, and I'm back. Yeah, it's been a few months, and I'm very glad to be back. This is an episode of Movie Night, which, if this is your first time viewing a Movie Night episode, I just invite guests to come on and talk about films, TV shows, and their music. Today's episode has a very special guest, and I am very excited to be talking about the Netflix series Dark with none other than Adal Rifai. If you are a listener of the podcast, then yes, this episode came out as an audio version back in August. And if you want to listen to that, you can go and listen to the episode in full on the Composer Chronicles podcast, where you can listen on any podcatcher of your choice. And while you're at it, subscribe and hit the notification bell and give this video a thumbs up. If you have watched any of the videos here on the YouTube channel for the Composer Chronicles, then you will know that the videos on this channel are only a part of the story. So if you want to watch the full thing, you can go to the Composer Chronicles' Patreon page. And you can also listen to all the full episodes on the podcast wherever you find them. Hello, Adal. How are you doing today?
Woo, doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm very happy to have you. All right. Well, today we're talking about the Netflix series Dark, which is probably one of the best television shows that I have watched ever. I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but this was a wild trip. So thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Yeah, it's truly. I can't remember how I found it. I'm sure I was just like zooming through Netflix and it popped up as like a recommendation or something.
Right.
But it's truly the best parts of like Lost and Stranger Things and a few other shows. It's like the best parts of all of that, and it somehow makes it work.
Yeah.
Where a lot of those other shows are disappointing either for the finale or in subsequent seasons.
Right.
This show somehow pulls it all off while using a lot of the same devices in terms of like time travel and
Right.
mysterious vaults and portals, and it's so tasty. And it's an interesting thing of like, because it's German,
Right.
I'm never focused on, like, I feel like anytime I watch a foreign film or a foreign TV show, I'm never focused on like the acting of like, this is bad acting. Whereas with American TV shows, a lot of times I'll be like, woof, that is a bad actor.
Yeah.
I think because it's all subtitles, or I do the subs over dubs.
Right.
I'm always like, I trust that this person's a great actor, and I can't tell because of the language difference. I can't tell if they're,
Right.
if they're nailing it or not, but I trust that they are. So it's always enjoyable to watch something not American, because then or not in English, because then I'm not focused on the acting.
Yeah, absolutely. I ended up watching it in English just so that I could uh, consume it as quickly as I could. I do plan on going back and rewatching it with the original German. I was going back in and out of the English and the German a little bit to kind of try and see like, oh, how does this character actually sound? And I would go
Oh
back
yeah.
to it and I was like, oh my gosh, that fits the character way more, because the English, I must say, the English dubs for that show were not great. It was kind of emotionless most of the time,
Sure.
and I mean, and I think I get it. I mean, there's only so much money they can put into a dub, but there was and plus you're not the character acting it out, so you can't protrude that emotion as well,
Yeah,
as
it's
well as
it's a
the other
difference of
person.
it's the difference of someone on set with the other actor responding to an emotion, and
Right.
someone sitting in a sound booth doing 3 or 4 takes. I
Right.
always laugh at, like, anytime I watch like a Miyazaki film or something,
Yeah.
With if I ever try out the dubs over the subs,
Hmm.
it's always funny of like someone's like, "Hello, Grandpa, it's nice to see you," and, and then you put on the subs and you're like, "Oh, this person has way more energy. They're way more aligned with how I think the character should sound." Like it's just interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a ride, and I can't wait to rewatch it again with the actual German and with the subtitles. Maybe I can get by with just focusing on the German without the subtitles now that I
Yeah.
have watched it, and just watch it for the art of
Mhm.
it rather than trying to
Just
understand it.
relax and let it wash over you, man.
Right.
Hmm.
I think some of my favorite parts of this music were the fact that they were using an original score on top of uh, pre-recorded music, not just pop music, but also other classical composers' music like Caroline Shaw, and it was so interesting to watch this and listen to that music.
I truly think more than any other TV show, movie, anything, any sort of medium I've digested, the music helps. So the music is, I hate saying this, it always sounds so stupid, but it's like the music was its own character.
Yeah,
But it truly is like they really carve out huge chunks of time to be like, let's just zoom in on the town or the forest or a character reacting, and let's just play like 2 minutes of music to really underpin this moment and like make it stick in everyone's craw a little bit. Like it's so effective, and
right.
it's just so I've never felt as strongly watching anything as I do with Dark, and because of the musical pairing. I mean, the only thing that comes close is like my favorite movie of all time is Beetlejuice,
Yeah,
and the Danny Elfman's score in that is just like gives me goosebumps. Where I'm
yeah,
like, this score is doing everything for me.
yeah.
But I feel like Dark even passes that, and just in terms of how effective the music is, and just how perfectly selected and timed everything is. Like they
Mhm.
really let the music dominate a lot of screen time
Yeah.
versus letting it fade out to be like, okay, a scene's coming, get rid of the music. They're just like, fuck it, let's sit it. Oh, can I curse on this?
Yes, I got it.
uh, they definitely just let the music go on as long as they need to,
Yeah.
and then the scenes just happen to swing by after that. It's so cool.
Yeah. I think there was, I don't know if it is true, but it felt like there was music constantly, if not like just a drone in the background at least at some point. And it felt like there was something always, always happening, and there was some emotion to portray, and the music was just always there.
Oh yeah, and it's not even because like with I feel like Lost is a good comp in terms of like it's a lot
Mhm.
of similar subject matter, a lot of mysteries to unravel. But with Dark, it's like you might catch up with the same character over 3 different chunks of their lifetime.
Right.
So you might see them as a kid, you see them as a 30 something, and then you see them as like a 70-year-old or an octogenarian.
Right.
And it's like anytime we visit the older version, because it's so unnatural, because it's dealing with time travel and all this weird mystery, the music never lets you get comfortable.
Right.
The music is there to remind you like this is unnatural, like
Yeah.
man was not meant to fuck with time, like
Yeah.
what are you, so you're always feeling very uneasy. And did you get a chance to watch season 2 at all?
I watched the whole thing.
Oh hell yeah! So in season
Oh
2,
yeah.
yeah, as you know, there's like almost like split, like different dimensional
Yeah.
versions of the characters.
Yeah.
So it's like same age, but now it's from a different reality or a different dimension
Right.
or timeline. I think is the term they use. So even with that, it's like when you meet someone from the other timeline, the music is like not letting you forget how
Yeah.
eerie this is, how creepy this is, how sinister some of the characters are. The music does all the lifting. Like it's just wonderful, just so
Yeah.
good.
Absolutely. And even in some of the more peaceful moments, there's still some kind of level of uneasiness throughout the whole thing. And I feel like most of that has to do with the kind of electric sounds that were being used on top of the orchestral ones, but there was always some level of uneasiness throughout the whole entire score. Even in the pre-recorded songs, there was always just something of course, dark. The whole thing
It
was,
turns out.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed watching this with that, especially that music. Um, yeah, there were, like, I think what I was saying, like some of those peaceful moments, like I think one of my favorite moments of all was when Jonas is kind of hiding in the forest as he's watching his kind of like just a few days before self, and they're at the lake, and Jonas is getting ready and he forgets that he has to go help his grandmother with her iPad or whatever, and the older Jonas, still a teenager, but the older Jonas comes up, replaces the younger one, and gives his prophetic line of "We're perfect for each other, and don't ever believe anything else." And that music, I was like, I want to love this music so much, this big kind of swell, but there's something just not letting me have that moment, which is all too prophetic for later on in the season or later on in the series, when all kind of just just breaks loose, and you can't even enjoy their story at the end.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's something where it's like the first. I've watched some of the episodes a few times, and it's like upon first viewing, I kind of would just absorb it, and then when I go back and watch it, I realized, like you said, the effect it's having, where it's like it is making me feel a certain way, or it's not letting me get comfortable. And it reminded me of like this isn't necessarily a one-to-one, but it's something of like when you go to Las Vegas, how it's like you go on the casino floor and you're like, oh, this is so much fun. The sounds of the casino, and like this is so fun.
Yeah,
And then you realize like they don't put clocks anywhere, and that's to keep you not concerned about time. they
yeah,
they pump in nonstop oxygen to make people feel awake and like willing, like
yeah,
energized to spend money. So it's like all these behind the scenes things that are like affecting you in a way that you think are positive, but they're actually
right,
for the benefit of the casino, or in this case the show.
right,
It's yeah.
yeah.
I also have to say, maybe I think I'm going to say my favorite opening of all time, like the intro, the opening of each episode.
Yeah.
That song is, I think, to me, the two most. Do you mind if I go into like the two most effective songs for me?
Yes, please.
So I lost the name of it. Whatever, the opening song that goes over the credits. It
Yeah.
used to be my favorite opening credits used to be Dexter,
Okay.
which is, have you ever seen that?
I haven't. No.
So I'm sure you know, he's a serial killer who
Yeah.
kills other serial killers. So the
Yeah.
whole opening credits of Dexter is like him tying his shoes. But the way they film it is like you see a rope twist around his hand and he pulls it, and the tension of the material, and you're like, oh, he's strangling someone. And then they pan down and it's him tying his shoes. Or
Oh,
you see like a knife, like a serrated knife going through flesh, and it looks like there's blood spilling out, or viscera. And then you pan over and he's cutting into a blood orange to make his orange juice. So it's like it's showing the violence of like everyday actions
yeah.
that we wouldn't think twice about, but it's showing like how violent they could appear or how violent they can be. So
Yeah.
that used to be my favorite opening credits, but Dark overtook that with the sort of mirror image clips
Yes.
from the season that appear. And then the song is Goodbye by Apparat.
Yeah.
And I assume, I don't know if you know, I assume this is a song that existed before the show,
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah.
but the song is just absolutely haunting. And it starts
Hmm.
with like tribal drums, and then
Yeah.
there's
And that
like a,
twangy guitar.
yeah, it's like plucking of like an over tightened guitar or something.
Yeah.
And then there's like some like almost like choir voices going on.
Yeah.
It's just the best. That song every day, all day every day does it for me.
Yeah. That's something that I would download on my Spotify, just to listen to on its own. Yeah.
And then the other song, the song that was like the most powerful for me during the show, like during not during the opening, was a song called Familiar. But I
Mm.
get, it has a lot of little umlauts, so it might be like familia. uh, by Agnes Obel,
Okay.
and then it says dash Citizen of Glass. And this is just a beautiful song, and it has like a high female voice. I feel like a lot of songs in Dark have like a high or like
Yeah.
somber female voice.
Yeah.
So it has this sort of somber female voice, and then there's a male voice that slips in that almost sounds like Anthony and the Johnstons.
Yeah.
Johnsons, if you ever remember that band.
Yeah.
Um, but I believe that song plays during a scene in the first season where like all the birds die, like all the
Yeah.
birds are falling from the sky. And it was just like, I'm like, oh, this is one of my favorite viewing experiences of all time.
Yeah.
Just so well done. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of all these pre-recorded songs, how do you felt like these pre-recorded songs fit in with the composed score for this series?
I for the most part seamlessly. Like I feel
Yeah.
like for the most part, because even with the opening credit song, I was like, this could have been made for the show because it fits the tone so well, or it could be a band that just happened to like nail what
Yeah.
they needed.
Yeah.
So to me, it was almost seamless. The only time, and it still worked with the show, but I think there's what is it, round? You spin me right round. I forget
Yeah.
who sings that. The you spin me rat? No, not rat. Quiet
There,
Riot? No.
there's been so many covers of that song that I feel like the original is lost to me. Um,
But when that song appears, so there's that song, Dead or Alive, it says. Must be it.
okay.
That song, and I think there's maybe like a Dan Deacon song.
Mhm.
So there's a few, I think any American song took me out of the show slightly, where I was like, because I know this song, I'm now aware of it, and like I know the lyrics, and I know that this is like they bought the rights for this, so it took me out of it a little bit. But any song that wasn't American, which is almost every other song, I
Mhm.
felt like this is maybe written for the show, or if not, it's seamless in terms of like how well it fits in with it.
Right. I think I specifically remember one. I think it was in the third season, where they found a song that focused around Ariadne, and it kind of brings you back all the way to the first season where Martha is putting on this play of Ariadne, and you're like, wait, they did. I mean, this was one of the pre-recorded songs that they had to find something that dealt with Ariadne, and and put it in sometime later in the season to give you kind of callback to 2 seasons ago, while this big dramatic sex scene.
Oh yeah.
There was a
Pretty
lot of
intense.
that. Yeah,
Pretty intense.
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah, there was a lot of good pre-recorded songs, and I was surprised that they used so any American. Maybe that's probably because it's Netflix and they were trying to appeal to the American audience as well. But there was a lot of English, uh, yeah, English songs that they used in the show, which, I mean, it was a nice reprieve to know a song every once in a while. But there were also a lot of songs that were in there that felt like it was also part of the score written for the show. I think I said earlier there's a piece that they used by a composer, Caroline Shaw, where it starts off with just like guttural sounds, like they're breathing, and
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I know exactly the score you're talking about.
yeah, that was not written by the composer of the score, and I actually found that out this morning. I was like, wait, that's one of the most like used pieces of music throughout the first season, um, which I was blown away by that. And then at the same time, when they reused that same piece at the end of the third season, when Martha realizes that it's not her Jonas anymore, it's just there was the music is so well placed throughout the whole entire series.
And we should specify, Stephen. For those of you who haven't seen this show, it's about a German girl named Martha. She falls in love with one of the Jonas brothers. She can't remember which one she ran out with, and so it's a whole to do. I think that I think I didn't know this until you mentioned it, so I don't want to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
No, yeah,
Caroline
sure.
Shaw, is that who you said?
Yeah.
So I think that Caroline Shaw song is also used in Devs, the
Okay.
recent Hulu show, which is phenomenal.
Hmm.
Um, but that also has a great score and uses music really well throughout. So if you haven't seen Devs, Devs on Hulu, I highly recommend that.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out because I am looking for a whole lot more stuff, whole lot more stuff to watch because I am years behind. um, I what were some of your favorite moments overall in the whole series musically?
Um, it's hard to. It's been a little while since I saw it because I watched each season as it came out.
Yeah,
So I know. I mean, I know specifically in the first season when the birds fall from the sky.
yeah,
That moment of like, what the hell is going on, paired with the song I mentioned, like that whole experience was probably my favorite.
yeah,
Um, but I feel like there's a lot of anytime there's some sort of reveal. Like I feel like when the what is it when this show you could watch it 100 times and still be like, wait, who was that, or like
yeah.
what was that, how was that person connected? It's so complex,
Uh-huh.
but thoroughly enjoyable. um there's the guy who finds his dad's suicide note,
Yeah,
where it's like, yeah, when he like opens up that, and he's kind of like sitting at the table, I believe, after kind of finding out what's piecing it all together.
yeah,
That moment with the score underneath was very effective and powerful. I feel like a lot of this stuff, I love Claudia Tiedemann is maybe my favorite name in the world to say. Claudia Tiedemann. I feel like a lot of her stuff, whenever she's meeting her past self, or going through hard times, I feel like the music they choose for her journey is really effective.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it's hard to it's all one giant lump of time travel. So
yeah.
it's hard to parse out certain moments, but those stick out as some very effective, memorable moments.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite moments was one of the scenes that I've described before of Jonas coming to see Martha and professing his love for her on the beach of this lake. And I think one of the reasons for that moment being one of my favorites is because of it being this moment of extreme love and intense romance, and you can't you're not allowed to feel that with them at that same time because one, the music won't allow you, and two, you already kind of know with the direction that everything is heading. And
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely agree. The moment where the birds are falling, uh that's a fantastic piece that was underscoring that whole thing. um and
I think there's also with the character of Adam, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like with
mhm,
the Adam character, who's for the most part like the main villain, like
yeah,
Adam's. Well, I mean, there's this complex, but I feel like Adam is pretty sinister. But there's several scenes with him where there's like industrial music, where it's a
yeah,
lot of like clanging and almost like Nine Inch Nails light, like a lot of
yeah,
industrial. And I feel like that was always really cool to
yeah,
have that ominous score behind him.
yeah. The clanging, like somebody's like taking a hammer to an anvil or something like that. That was, yeah. I didn't pick up on that particular music until till they started introducing Adam to the whole picture. So yeah, um, I was trying to piece out where that music was, and now that you mention it, that's where that's where I was hearing that music in association with.
Yeah.
But the one,
I think Adam and maybe Noah as well, or maybe I might be conflating the two, but I think with what, maybe it was Noah, but with Adam or Noah, or maybe both, there was that sort of industrial mechanical music.
yeah, and it would also appear with I don't know if they ever really mentioned the character's name, but in the third season, the son of Martha and Jonas, who you don't find out is their spoiler, you don't find out it's their their child until like the last episode. um and it's the youngest, the middle, and the old guy. They're all constantly with each other. That clanging sound also plays with them as well.
So creepy. That trio is so creepy.
I know. And you always know when one is about to kill somebody when the youngest and the oldest cross their arms together, and it was like, uh-oh, something's about to go down.
I think it is so fun to just be like, what if, like you right now, Steven, what if like 10-year-old you and 65-year-old you just like went throughout time just kicking ass, where it's just like, it's almost like in what's the fucking movie Social Network, where he's like,
Yeah.
I'm 6'5" and there's two of me with the Winklevoss twins.
Yeah.
It's like there's three of me and we're all different ages.
Yeah.
It's so funny and so creepy.